Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. I'm with the gang, we packing. We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so asleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoes, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas key. You with me, sheesh. Bonito, cheap, Keith.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been hiding a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Yeah, head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test, now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, And it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Bitcoin getting a little bit of a bounce from that local level that we were looking at on today's earlier market update. Get a little bit of a bounce here, guys. A little bit of a 3, almost 4% bounce to the upside. And I am schlong, baby. I am long and short at the same time here. Obviously, still holding the short from last week. It has played out very nicely, giving us that big drop back down to our next key level, guys. We got the rejection from our one key level and a push into our next key level of support, and we are currently getting a bounce from that level, guys. Can't ask for more than that. But shout out to the CandleMafia. Let me just make sure I move some OBS stuff around. Can you guys hear me loud and clear? Sound check in the chat. Give me 1 second here, guys. I'm going to go close the studio door. All right. Did everybody have a great weekend? Shout out to the Mafia here. Let me go ahead and move this mug so I can see the actual chat. Shout out to Amina. What is going on? We got Rob the Crypto Snob. Jesse in the chat. We got the mods here, guys. Darren Does Things checking in as well. Said, why did I know all the lyrics to the song? Oh, wait, no, that was Dizzy Gang said that. Where did Darren go? Oh, he said, here we go. Goat. Bah. Shout out to Darren. Welcome in, brother. Welcome in. We got Dizzy Gang in the chat. We got, man, chat is moving a little quick today. Let's see. Shout out to JL. What is going on? Said, Frankie, tell us how the schlong is doing. Well, we're currently in profit on both those positions. I will talk about the trades in just a minute, guys. And we're going to talk about as we hold this major key level of support, guys. If you saw the market update, you will know we have the macro 786 down here. And if we want to get a bigger retracement, we really need to hold on to this level. And Bitcoin holding on by the skin of its teeth here. So we'll see if we can hold that. But, yeah, we'll take a look at money flow. Are we going to be able to see this be a higher low before a new higher high? Well, although we are getting the bounce and we are long for the bounce, guys, I don't know how good I feel about that. But we're going to break everything down. Could we hit $96,000, or are we just going to turn around locally here and continue to the downside into the dark depths of the bear market? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. But let's see. Shout out to Warpaint. Welcome in. Get your Warpaint on, baby. Shout out to you, brother. We got Genzi in the chat. Samuel, what is going on? We got Perry in the chat. What is going on, man? Welcome in. We got Axum in the chat, dropping the goat emoji. And we got Stivers in the chat as well. Welcome in. But, guys, we got a lot to cover here. Post-weekend, Frankie the Best, give me all the TA. Shout out to Rat Girl. Is that Rat IRL? Rat IRL. I never know how to say that. Shout out to Rat IRL. Shout out to you, man. But welcome in. Breaking everything down for the breakdown. Stay tuned and find out. Shout out to Dave Hagen. Welcome in. But we got all the Mafia. We got the OGs in the chat. We got the medium OGs. We got the old OGs. We got some Shout out to Div X-Ray said, thank God I got out of this dumpster fire. All thanks to you, man. Shout out to Div X-Ray. I know you were letting us know that you were feeling pretty bad on, I think it was Friday, but glad you're feeling a little bit better there, brother. And yeah, shout out to Div X-Ray. Yeah, guys, obviously the high time frames are not looking good. We'll talk a little bit about the high time frames, but we'll cover the trades, we'll cover the key levels and where we're looking for the next bounces. And you're not going to want to miss it, guys, because we're currently bouncing from the level that we gave on Friday. So without further ado, let's go ahead and new OGs. Shout out to Rudy. Yeah, Rudy, you're a new OG. Shout out to Rudy. I appreciate you, bro. But yeah, with all that being said, when banana, shout out to Two's Cruise. Well, we'll talk about a potential banana. I'm not expecting it anytime soon, but we'll talk about the long term as well. But without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, guys. So here we are on the Bitcoin chart. I'm going to bring it back to Friday, where we were actually live. Now, looking back, I probably could have taken off Black Friday. But, oh, by the way, guys, speaking of Black Friday, guys, we got 5 spots, 5 coupon codes available right now for the premium Discord. I'm going to release it in a second. And, yeah, it'll be, I'll explain it in just a second. But just a quick reminder, guys, Cyber Week Black Friday sale on the Discord is still live. And I'm going to have 5 coupon codes for you to save an extra 10% on top of the already discounted prices. We'll get to that in a second. But obviously, guys, on Friday, we were looking at these key levels, right? We had our major key level of resistance sitting here between about $91,000 and $92,000 with the liquidity sitting up here above 93K. As we talked about, I was short up here, barely missed getting stopped out about 93K. Still obviously holding that short position. We talked about this earlier today. I'll show the trade in just a second, but still holding this short position. Excuse me. And obviously many reasons to look for this pullback, guys. What we were looking at on Friday was obviously our confirmed 4-hour bearish divergences, and it really all starts with waiting for the key level, right? We were very patient here. We even front ran the level just a little bit, started to pull back, but we were waiting for those key levels to get tapped. More often than not, you will get those key levels tapped. It's not likely or not common that you're just going to front run those levels and dump. Is it possible? Yes, but every time I'm always going to be anticipating those targets to get hit. Obviously, we did come into that zone. We had an MPOC in here, the 786 Fibonacci retracement. We had the anchored VWAP from the high, not that anchored VWAP. We had the anchored VWAP from 107.4 sitting in there as well, right? It's cruising right on through there. And we had the MPOC 786. And most importantly, guys, the macro value area low of this range, right? We have the local value area pulled from this consolidation here, but whether you're looking at this local consolidation from back here or if you are looking at your larger profile pulled to the current price action, this value area low is absolutely critical, right? Obviously, it's critical for resistance. This is always going to be resistance until proven otherwise. But of course, this would be a very good sign for a move to the upside if you could flip that level to support. And then if that were to happen, we were going to be looking for price to come up into 96K. Is this still possible if we're able to continue holding our key level of support here on the golden pocket? Well, we'll talk about that. I have less hopes for getting back above this value area high at this point, because obviously this was a clear bearish retest of the resistance before getting that next big drop down. Of course, we had the 4-hour bearish divergences, higher highs on your price action, lower highs on your momentum waves. And on top of that, we also, I guess I can get rid of that too. We also had our 12-hour red dot looking to print here with our 45-minute money flow crossover, or 45-minute money flow looking to come out here. Now, obviously, we did get a little fake out into the green here, guys. But overall, right, when we see this 45-minute money flow crossover, we look at this not for an instant signal for a mega candle to the downside. Sometimes does that happen? Yes. But overall, when you get that money flow to come out and you have that 12-hour red dot printing at essentially the same exact time, this gives us that market cipher B 1/16th bearish setup, and that 45-minute money flow is always going to be the thing to look at to anticipate the continuation of the downtrend. And you can see the money flow crosses over here, and we kind of just went flatlined over the weekend, went sideways, and we did come up for one last lower high before getting that next bigger drop to the downside. And of course, I am still holding that position, which I will bring up in just a second. But just to give you guys kind of an idea on how we got to where we are right now, of course, we just waited patiently for that resistance. We waited patiently Actually, I did not take my trade based off these bear divs. I took it a little earlier, but we patiently waited. I took some other local confirmations here with my stop loss above these highs. Of course, barely missed getting stopped out there. I'm surprised they let me live here, guys. I'm not going to lie, because it's been very hard to catch shorts here recently, but they weren't able to get me, still holding that position. But of course, right, just simply waiting for the confluent level of resistance, looking for those bearish confirmations, seeing the money flow come out, expecting the lower high and the lower low. Of course, we could have flipped the value area low for a push to the upside, but obviously in this bearish environment, you have to be aware, right, that you can reject the local levels. There's no guarantee you have to come up to those bigger targets. So again, in a bearish environment like we are in right now, unfortunately, you are going to kind of favor the shorts, right? You got to take those stabs at the shorts. And then, of course, the plan was if we do get the drop to the downside, we have these key levels down here. Key level number 1, value area high, also somewhat confluent with these structural highs. But as always, guys, we saw that there was not a lot of confluence here, so not really a big level. Was it possible to hold this as support for another bounce up? Sure. But of course, I wanted to wait for the more confluent level of support, which clearly was sitting down here on our POC, golden pocket retracement, and we also had some MPOCs in there as well. Let me see. Do I still have the MPOC on the chart? Yeah, daily MPOC tapped perfectly right there. We have the golden pocket, daily MPOC, point of control of the range. And yeah, that was the confluence, right? That was really the only big level that we were liking. Of course, we had the value area high. We also had the anchored VWAP from the low, but there was no confluence on these, right? It's just like lonesome level. Maybe you could look at this as somewhat of a zone, but of course, like once you get down here, you have the MPOCs, the point of control of the range. And as always, right, once you get below that value area high, the next high probability target is that POC. You guys are going to see this is a very common occurrence where it's like, oh, I don't know, guys, we're inside the volume profile. We get stuck under the value area high probability move to the POC. And, well, here we are, and we finally get the bounce, right? None of the other levels were respected, and that's the key. That's the importance of confluence, right? You want to find those levels that have multiple levels of confluence. That's the high probability areas for a reaction. And we also did come into that zone, right? This was obviously a setup in the premium Discord. Let me see if I have this up real quick. Whoops. Bada boom. Whoops. Bada boom. So we were looking for this as a scalp position. Price moved around a little bit here, but we were looking at this as our key zone, right? Daily MPOC, point of control, golden pocket. And actually, we did prefer to see that push into $91,000 first. For me personally, I wanted to take a new short up here. And number 2, as we got that push into 91K, it did actually move that golden pocket up a little bit more confluent with the POC, which was absolutely beautiful. And as you guys can see, we were looking here for these low time frame bullish divergences. And what happens, right? This is obviously way before we come down to the level. And eventually we approach that level. We come on down. And not only did you get the 15-minute bull divs, right? Here's your lower lows on your price action, your higher lows on your momentum waves, but we also did get these bullish divergences on some other time frames as well, such as the 1 hour with our lower low on our price action, higher low on our momentum waves. We hit the key level. We got some of our confirmations, and there we go, right? Opportunity for a little bit of a bounce to the upside, playing out very, very nicely. As of right now, I am holding long position over here, up about $1,200 on the day. Not too shabby. Stop loss set to break even here. So protected. And I'm going to talk about how high we could potentially go here. We've already hit our first target. So I'll talk about some of those next targets to the upside. And of course, still holding the short position here as well, up about $2,800. Beautiful, beautiful entry there at about $91,200, $300, right before that big drop to the downside here, guys. So we are schlong in profit on both positions here. So super comfy position, to be quite honest with you. Now, the question is, guys, you will know also on Friday, we were talking about the fact that if we did come down to this key level and we did get the tap of this golden pocket, if this money flow is still in the green, it is giving us a possibility of a higher low before eventually seeing another higher high come in, breaking structure to the upside here, which would make that next target 96K. Now, before we get too excited, guys, I don't know how confident I feel about this being the case. Yes, we have tapped the golden pocket. Yes, we have our money flow in the green on the 4 hour. But as we look at our current price action right now, we have new information on the chart. If I chop on down here to the 3 hour, you can see money flow is generally trending to the downside, which does put us at risk of having that leak into the 4 hour. So But we are holding the long position, right? So if it does wind up being correct, that's beautiful. We're covered on the long. But if not, I'm very happy now, especially in this bearish environment, to be sitting in my short trade for lower prices to potentially come. So, I don't love the way the 3-hour looks. We got a nice little pop-up on money flow here. We're going to hope to see this continue up for the move back to higher prices. But I just don't love the trending out nature of this 3-hour money flow. 2-hour money flow also crossed over into the red. So, there is an opportunity, right, for this potentially to turn into a bigger trade, to break structure to the upside and give us the low, the high, the higher low, and the higher high. And of course, right, if you're looking for those higher lows and higher highs, where is that likely to come in at? It's probably going to come in between the golden pocket and the 786 Fibonacci retracement. But I'm not loving this money flow right now. So I don't know, and I love these 4-hour bearish divergences up here. So I don't know if it's going to be a high probability that we come up and crack that high. But I will just say there is an opportunity for that to play out. And you might say to yourself, well, if you don't know if the higher high is going to come in, how do you handle that, right? Well, very simply put, I've taken the long position. We can start to lock in some profits or even set your stop loss to break even. And listen, if this thing rolls over and that 2 and 3 hour money flow leaks into the 4-hour and gives us the continuation down, we're covered on the short on the push to the upside. Never getting super bullish on the pushes up, especially into a key level of resistance like this with those bearish confirmations. So you don't have to know 100% whether this is going to be a higher high or not. Because we can lock profits in on the way and set our stop losses to break even, right? And that way, hopefully if we can get a little bit of a bigger push up here, take some money off the table, and if it decides to roll back over at the value area high, stop out in profit on that little scalp long, make some money on the day, and have that big short position continue to pay us out. Absolutely cushy position to be in, to be quite honest. But just to kind of update you guys, because Friday it was like, hey guys, if we come down here and we get the bounce, we really need to see this 4-hour money flow stay in the green in order to anticipate a higher high. And that is the case here. But when we now have new information on the chart, like the 3-hour money flow attempting to come out over time, 2-hour money flow crossing into the red, we do just have to be a little bit careful. It does lower the probabilities of seeing a new high come in, right? Especially after the confirmed 4-hour bear divs, the rejection of the anchored VWAP, and of course, just the fact that we have bearishly retested the macro range here, right? It's like in order to see that bigger move up, we really needed to flip this level to support in order to open up the doorway to 96K and then potentially flip that POC and get the bigger push up to $102,000 to $105,000. Now, my plan remains exactly the same here, guys. Let's just say we do end up having maybe the 2-hour money flow comes back into the green. If we do come in and put that higher high in, right, this is the next target to the upside. It does sit between, let's call it, grab that purple box, right? And I would say about $97,000 to $95,100, right? This is the next big area that I'd be interested in new shorts, or at least bigger rejections to the downside. And then depending on what money flow looks like here, we can either, look at this to be a potential higher time frame, lower high for lower prices, or maybe we can look to get a little scalp in, hold support on the value area high, eventually giving us that bigger retracement into 102 to 105K, which of course is going to be confluent. It is our next key target, right, which sits between the 50-week moving average, the daily MPOC, and the value area high. And we do have some other confluences in here as well, but for the most part, right, before we ever look for 96K or 105K, right, there's no reason to look up there until we are able to get back above this value area low. I don't really love the rejection that we got here. You get the breakdown, the bearish retest. Really wanted to reclaim this for that push into 96K. But at the end of the day, if this does for some reason decide to shoot up here, flip that value area low, that is still our next big target. You can see all the confluence here. We might have some local levels in here, but again, there's no confluence on them. All the confluence sits here between 95.1 and 97K, just like there was no confluence on our first approach at the resistance, right? We kind of just front ran the level. Not interested, right? I'm looking for those confluent levels to get hit. And same thing on the way down, right? It's like, could we bounce off this value area high? Maybe. Could we bounce off that anchored VWAP we had here? Maybe. But, again, that bigger confluent area is going to be here, which is the higher probability area to get a reaction from. So I do want to be clear, right? Like overall, I don't know how hyped I am about being able to get up here. But nice to see a little pop to the upside. No one's going to complain about making some money on the day on this, somewhat small bounce to the upside on Bitcoin. Shout out to Jets. What is going on, bro? He says, when alt season... Oh, man. I don't know. We'll take a look at the long term in just a second. But yeah, I've just covered this situation so many times. I don't want to be, I don't want to be super repetitive here. Why is this such a key level, right? Like you see it in the title, like this is a huge level of support. It's not this local Fibonacci retracement, guys. The reason this is so important, I'll even take this off the chart, right? Like the reason this level is so important is really because it is our macro 786 retracement, right? Let me pull off some of these daily MPOCs. When we pull from the 75K low all the way to the high, this 786 is absolutely huge, guys. If we are going to look for some kind of a bigger retracement, maybe to come back up and retest the 50-week moving average, this is what you would hope for, right? In order to see some kind of an alt season come in. Alt season meaning everything goes to new all-time highs? Very unlikely in my opinion, but some kind of a rotational alt season, if you want to call it that. This is the opportunity to do it. And of course, losing this 786 at about $83,500 is really the level that we can't lose. Once we lose this 786, at that point, the idea of getting that bounce is invalidated, and I will probably be looking to come take out this low at $74,000. And I will be clear here, guys, even if we get the retracement from here, I am long-term at this point, unless something changes in a huge way up here. I am probably still going to be eventually looking for price to come down and break out these lows, right? And I'll talk about some of the lower levels of support. We've covered them many a times on the live stream, but I'll cover them once again. Even if we get the bigger retracement up, guys, all the higher time frame money flow, we're below the 50-week moving average. We have the massive bearish divergences. I'm not going to go over everything because I cover it every single day. I will still be, right, is looking more and more likely here that we could be entering into the bear market. There's a lot of reasons to be looking for that. And I don't want to be repetitive. We cover them every day. You can watch any live stream, any market update. I probably covered it. But like, even if we did get the retracement from here, I am still being very cautious about eventually coming down to take these lows, which would make our next target here. I'm almost right where this line is drawn to about $70,000. And I'll go over that in just a minute. But let me come on into chat and see what you guys are feeling. What are you guys feeling? All-time highs, retracements. What are we thinking? What are we thinking, Mafia? Let me know. Shout out to Al Jr. said, my new alt is for Control-Alt-Delete when I look at my portfolio. Shout out to Al Jr. Let's see. Just say you think we're in a bear market, Frankie. Shout out to Brillo. Yeah, I mean, listen, guys, we've been talking about this, ever since 108K. I just hate to be super repetitive because we've talked about it so much, right? Once we broke down below this 108,000, this is the $103,000 value area low. Where is it? Ever since we broke down below this $108,000 value area low, guys, and the reason for this, the reason this was kind of bear market warning was because of the money flow on the higher time frames, right? 4-hour money flow still generally trending out here. We got a little bit of a pop-up here. Nothing really super exaggerated, right? 3-day money flow is still in the red. 2-day money flow still in the red. 5-day money flow just crossed into the red. 6-day money flow is still crossing into the red here. So, long-term, guys, this is looking like pretty much identical. Not that it has to play out the same way, right? But like just to compare this, right? It's like very similar to what we had happen over here in 2021 for more than just the reason of money flow, right? We've covered the idea that I have talked about, the first top in 2021 being the actual euphoric top of the bull market, massive retail interest, right? And then on the second bounce that we got into the actual numerical all-time high, it was essentially a dead cat bounce to sweep out the highs, print these bearish divergences, and send us below that 50-week to send us into a deeper bear market. It's a very similar situation here, right? Obviously, we have not had any euphoria at the top here, but when we look at this just from like a bare bones, we just look at this cycle alone, it's like the only time we had any kind of euphoria was really during this November, December 2024 kind of alt season that we had, right? A little mini alt season. And now people would say, like, how could that just be the alt season? And at the end of the day, guys, we were in a very different situation in this cycle than we were in 2021. We had massive money printing here. We just were not in that situation, right? But it is looking very similar where it could be the case where we had the, cycle euphoric interest, right? Which was not as strong as 2021, which makes sense because there was no money printing, no liquidity being injected. It makes a lot of sense, right? But, if I look at this, it's like, where was most of the excitement? It was up here. And now we have less excitement, which gives you another type of sentiment, bearish divergence. It's like a social bearish divergence, right? As well as the, actual technical bearish divergences. You have like peak in interest, lower peak in interest. And, obviously, I know a lot of people are saying we didn't have euphoria. The top can't be in. Although it does make a lot of sense to see like a blow off top with massive euphoria, everyone calling for higher prices, and then the top comes in. It does not mean that you can't put a top in like we did back here, right? Like the massive euphoria was all back here. We didn't get it on that second top. People would have, I don't know if they were, right? But I'm sure people were probably saying the same thing. It's like, well, interest is half of what it was back here. How could that be the top? Well, maybe that was the actual top. could be a similar situation here where we had the alt season happen here, right? We had the, me personally, I got a lot of text messages from my normie friends and family. Oh my God, should I buy crypto? Everything's pumping. That was really the only excitement that we had in this cycle. And then we just get that kind of lower high on the social interest here. Definitely not impossible for the top to be in, right? And of course, once we lose that $108,000 value area high, when we look at the timing of the cycles, it is looking very, very similar, right? It's like, well, hey, 532 days from the halving to the top, 546 days from the halving to the top, right? 2026 would be the expected bear market year unless something crazy happens, right? But really the only argument that I can make here, guys, is that this time is different. The charts don't matter, right? And I'm glad that I don't just take that stance because that has not been our stance. Our stance has been, 108K, lose it this late in the cycle, start breaking down below that 50-week moving average. That's bear market territory. Right? So I am bearish, right? And we have been for quite some time here. Now, I can't guarantee, right? Like, this is not financial advice. I can't tell you what to do with your spot bags, right? I'm not a financial advisor. And you shouldn't even be looking for someone to just tell you what to do. You want to learn and make your own decisions with good risk management. So, it's not impossible for something to happen, right? But like, as I say every day, there's no real argument I can make here based off the charts, based off the 4-year cycle. Like, the only thing I can say is this time is different, this time is different. There's really no validity in that argument, in my opinion, right? Unless they say, hey, we're going to start massively money printing and the money printer go brrr, and maybe we just melt up, right? But like, that's like a really, really big gamble to take, in my opinion. So there it is, right? Like, it is looking a lot more likely that we are headed into a bear market here. The only thing that would really change that for me is if we can get back into this value area low. This would not be the thing that would make me think that, right? But we have to get above here. We'd have to get above all this resistance at 91 to 97. $95,000 to $97,000, and then we would have to work our way all the way back up on top of that, and then we would have to push into the real level, the real test, right, which would be that 50-week moving average, which, by the way, every other cycle has proven, with zero exception, impossible to get above, right? We were never able to break back above there and continue to the upside. After the 2 weekly candle closures, or you can even do it like a percentage-wise, we've never been able to get this deep below the 50-week, this late in the cycle with all the bearish confirmations and be able to get back above, right? So I don't want to harp on it too much, but, again, my sentiment remains the same. But there are reasons for it, right? It's not just that I want price to go down or anything like that. I'm never rooting for price to go down. Maybe if I'm in a short, I will. But I always want price to go higher. We just have a lot of work to do here. And it's not even getting above there, right? Like, once we get above that, that would be like the first sign of strength. But at the end of the day, I'm not really feeling good for all-time highs until we can crack above $116,000. But we're very far off of that, and it doesn't look very high probability at this point, right? And it hasn't for quite some time. So there you go. Let's see. Let's continue on. Shout out to Haiti. Welcome in, brother. I think that's how you say that. It says, hey, Frankie, what's up? What's going on, brother? Welcome in. Welcome in. Can the devs do something? Shout out to Post. Yeah, I'm going to try to contact the manager, guys. I'm going to try to contact the manager. Shout out to Dave Hagen. Says Tom Lee says 126K in 60 days. Bonkers. Shout out to Dave Hagen. I don't know who Tom Lee is. Maybe I do if I saw a picture or something. But yeah, listen, is that impossible? No. It just really depends, right? Like, if this is my problem, right? It's like, if I wanted to argue for 126K or beyond, because there is also an opportunity here. Maybe we get back all the way up here. And what's the big level, right? Like, obviously that big level is going to be the 786 retracement, which comes in at 114.7 right now. We have a lot of liquidity sitting above 116K. Like, even if we get up here, guys, I'm still going to be very, very, very cautious for, liquidity sweeps, maybe even go up and attack the high again. But again, I just don't even know if that's very likely. But if it happens, right, it's not impossible. If it does happen, right, well, we'll be able to change our sentiment. We'll see something on the chart here. Maybe we get above that PLC. Things look super, super good, and we can look for all-time highs, but there's just nothing on the chart calling for that right now. I think the simplest thing you could do is, if you have Market Cipher B, look at the weekly, 6-day, 5-day, 4-day money flow, and come back to any other cycle when you're at this point, right? Losing the 50-week moving average, right? And even if you weren't looking at the 50-week moving average, the money flow does a really good job of letting you know, when these big dumps are going to happen, right? Bear markets are going to happen. The 6-day and the weekly would be the big ones that I would look at. You can see here, 2017 or 2018 technically. 6-day money flow crosses over into the red. Massive, I think this was like a 65% drop to the downside, or 55% drop to the downside. 2021, weekly money flow, or 6-day money flow crossover. From there, you end up getting another 65% drop into the bear market, right? You could do this over any cycle. Look at that weekly money flow right here for another 66% drop to the downside. These weekly money or 6-day and weekly money flow crossovers, this, especially this late in the cycle, especially with the bearish confirmations, is not indicative of massive new all-time highs, right? Now, maybe it all fakes out, but that's not something that I base my decisions off of, right? So we'll see, right? Like, you're just hoping that the money printer goes crazy and we just melt up. But, you know, the chart looks like trash right now, to be quite honest with you. It's looking a lot more likely like the top is in. That's not something that, like, if we do go in and make new all-time highs, I'm going to get wrecked or I'm going to be super upset. As a matter of fact, I would love for that to happen. That doesn't mean that it's the highest probability situation, right? The market, you have to trade the market that you are given, right? You can't just expect the market to give you what you want. There's a lot of hope, a lot of cope, right? So, I mean, I hope it pays out, right? Like, I think a lot of people are like, if this goes into new all-time highs, he's going to be pissed. I'd be super excited. I am still partially exposed to the market here. So, I won't even miss out. But again, not my base case here, guys. Like, just look at the Fibonacci retracements even if we came all the way up here, right? You could macro high or low, lower high for a macro lower low. And again, I don't even know how high probability is that we get that bigger retracement. Still got to get above the 50-week, which is proven impossible to get above. So, you know, let's get above the 50-week, and then we can start to entertain, like, hey, maybe we are, because at that point, right, like, why would I be willing to say, hey, this looks okay, this is starting to look better? Well, it is because we are actually not just saying, oh my God, some narrative, some news, whatever it is, there's actually something that is different there at that point, right? It's like, well, we've never in any other cycle been able to get back above that 50-week moving average. Couldn't do it in 2014, couldn't do it in 2017, couldn't do it in 2021. So if we get above there, we could say to ourselves, we now have factual, hard evidence that something different has played out. Something different is happening here. Now, if that's accompanied by massive money printing, maybe we can entertain some kind of crazy pop-off in I guess the end of Q4. But again, it's not my base case, right? Like, higher probability opportunity here would be a retracement into the 50-week and just to roll back over deeper into a bear market. But I am totally open to that changing. There's just nothing, there's like no argument I can make here. Like, oh, well, now we have massive money flow coming up. It's just not an argument I can make based off any real information other than trying to hope that the money printer comes on sooner than later. So there you go. Let's see. Shout out to Edward, said great call on the long. Hey, shout out to Edward. I guess you're on the premium. Shout out to you, brother. Yeah. How's that playing out? Let's go down a little lower here. Come on, baby. Give us a little more of a push up. We did come into this local Fibonacci retracement, right? So if we can get it back above this 786, we might be able to cook up a little bit higher. And just to give you guys an idea of what I'm going to be looking for there, let me actually pull up the long real quick. Right, all right, so up about almost $1,200. But, whoops. Of course, right, I'm just going to be viewing this in the context of our volume profile, right? So we had our Fibonacci retracement tapped in the premium. We were talking about this in the premium live stream earlier today. Like, hey, if we can get this to play out, this will be the kind of the first target. It's a golden pocket 786 retracement, so always an opportunity to get the rejection there. But if we can crack that 786, well, hey, let's look to take out those highs. And if we keep creeping up there, we could potentially push into the $88,500 value area high. Of course, this is going to be key resistance. If we can't break out of there, this might just be some kind of like wonky move. Back into the profile, lose the POC, go back down to the value area low. So we'll see. Maybe we can get the breakout there for the higher high. But again, I don't really feel super confident in coming up and breaking this high. But at the end of the day, right, it's like, especially right now, it's like, I don't really have to be that confident. I'm already almost $1,200 in profit. Stop loss at break even. It's a risk-free trade. If it happens, great. If it doesn't happen and we just come down from here and I stop out, technically right now, I'll just get stopped out at no loss, right, break even. But hopefully we get a little bit of a bigger creep up here so I can actually turn that into from a guaranteed risk-free trade to a guaranteed winning trade, right? Because if I get up here and we start to take some of those profits and then it rolls over, we'll get stopped out in profit, make some money, and of course, that short will continue to pay us out, right? And then the final target, or not final target, but the next target to the downside would be the value area low. Lose the gold POC 786, look to go down to the value area low and potentially sweep out that low here at 80,500, where we have the $80,000 psychological level underneath, and we also have a weekly MPOC at 78,500. So yeah, that's kind of the local viewpoint here, guys. If the scalp continues to play out, next major target would be about $88,500. And yeah, I just not super amped on this making a new high just yet. I need to see some of those bigger. We got to get above the value area low. Until we get above there, there's no reason to look up towards 97K right now. Back over here, there was a reason, right? Because we could have flipped this into support, right? Or got back up here, flipped it to support, and came up. But now that we got this clean rejection, it's looking a lot lower probability. And in a bearish environment like we're in right now, we're going to go ahead and favor the be greedy with the short positions and conservative with the longs, right? Like, even if we are in a massive bear market here, right? Like even these little bounces to the upside, just to give you guys some context, right? Like just these little bounces like this, you can make a ton of money day trading these bounces like we are right here. You don't need to, just because there's a bear market coming does not mean you can't make money on longs, right? It's kind of why I don't really play the meme coin game too much. It's like, at the end of the day, right, like I can make these little moves, make a decent amount of money off these little moves, right? Up 53% on my actual margin here. It's like, you can get these massive moves on tiny little physical moves, right? That's the beauty of trading like this. So, even if I were to close this right now, we were to roll back over, it's like, all right, catch a little $1,200 for the day, and then have the short continue to pay us out. And, if we came down to take the lows, this would be up massively. Shorts up 3K, longs up 1,200. Just to show you guys, right? Like, there's money to make in this market. Like, whether Bitcoin's about to go to new all-time highs, about to go into a bear market, going sideways, it does not matter. There is money to be extracted out of this market if you can learn the skill of technical analysis and, more importantly, risk and trade management. Let's see. Shout out to Jive. I can't see your name fully, bro, but he says, third cycle here. Agree. It looks like the cycles end. On positive, good time to buy for a year or so. Shout out to Jiv. I'm sure I'm butchering that. But yeah, we kind of talked about this last week, right? Like, is this a bad time to buy Bitcoin, right? Well, it has everything to do with your long-term bias, right? Like, as we've talked about last week, it's like, or, when we're coming down here, it's like, this is not where I'm looking to short, right? Like, the shorts are to be had here, here, or here. Those are really the only opportunities to take the shorts. We caught this in the premium Discord. We caught this in the premium Discord. We had the setup here in the premium Discord. I wasn't on the chart, so I took these two. I personally missed this one. And then really the next short setup was the one that I'm in right now that we also had in the premium. I actually talked about this on the live stream as well, and I did get that one. So, it really depends on your long-term kind of situation, right? Like, I wouldn't really hate on it too much if someone's like, hey, I picked up a little Bitcoin here. It's like, all right, like, at least you're buying after price comes down. It's like, I always like to hear that more than like, oh my God, we're pumping, I just bought in, right? Like, that's always like, I'm always like, oh man, I'm worried about that. But, again, I'm not buying spot Bitcoin down here, right? But, doesn't mean that you guys shouldn't, not financial advisor, but, it depends on your kind of long-term plan, right? Like maybe you want to start nibbling a little bit, buy a little bit, right? And then maybe get the move back down, and then you nibble a little bit more, and then you get a retracement, and then you nibble a little bit more, right? And then your average entry price will shuffle down, and then eventually when you bottom out, you're going to get a nice little average entry price into the next cycle. If this time isn't different, which I don't expect it to be, but it's definitely not impossible. So yeah, it's, another one thing that I will say here, guys, I know a lot of people are saying, oh my God, we didn't have euphoria. Here's one thing that I talked about that I would be paying attention to if we go into a bear market, right? A lot of the sentiment, right? Back here and back here. People were very afraid to buy these dips. Very afraid to buy these dips. Oh my God, is this the bear market? Oh my God, is this the bear market? Which obviously my answer to both of those were, in my opinion, not really. I could be wrong, right? But my opinion was that the cycle was not over. We had just had the halving come in. We have a whole expected what we would think is a bull market ahead of us, which wound up being correct. So we look for the higher low and the higher high and the higher low and the higher high. But the two major differences here is, Frankie, why were you not freaking out when we were down here? Why are you not freaking out when we're down here, even if you're not paying attention to the 4-year cycle? And, if this 33% correction did not scare you, if this 33% correction didn't scare you, then why does this 34%, 35%, maybe 36% correction scare you? And it has to do with context. Here, we were holding the 50-week moving average as support. It's a different context, right? We are above the 50-week moving average, which historically has indicated that you can continue into the bull market, right? Same thing here. Not only did we hold the 50-week moving average, not only are we above it, but we're also getting massive bullish confirmations. We had the massive 2-day bullish divergences, and we also had our daily money flow eventually creep back into the green, indicating the trend would continue to the upside, giving us the new highs. And you had plenty of time left in the cycle. But I like not even paying attention to the cycle. Why are these 2 times different than this time? Well, it's very clear. It's very clear. We're not holding the support anymore. We've broken the major support. So, like, even if I did, which we don't, if I had a daily or 2-day bullish divergence down here, I would be sure looking for a move to the upside, but I would still be very concerned about the continuation of the downtrend because we're below that 50-week moving average, but you can't just base it off a moving average. I would agree. It's also the high time frame money flow. This is not bullish, guys. This is not bullish money flow. Different scenario. Bearish, right? So that's why I say one of the big things I'd like to see to kind of change my tune there is to see at least the flip of the 50-week moving average. And then we could say, all right, we're starting to see something different here. Does that mean you're guaranteed new all-time highs? No. But you could at least say to yourself, well, we've never been able to do this before. Maybe this time could be different. At least if you're if you're expecting this time to be different, you would have something to base it off of, right? And then you can start thinking about the macroeconomics, the money printing, etc. But I will always be paying more attention to the chart and then look for those narratives to kind of fuel the TA. Right now, the TA does not look good, unfortunately. But again, doesn't stop you from making money. Let's see. Shout out to Mr. Raymond. Thank you for the super chat. He says, where should we learn all that? What about AI trading? Shout out to Mr. Raymond. I don't know if I fully understand that question. Like, learn all the TA? I would say if you want to learn the TA or you want to learn how to trade like I'm trading right now, YouTube channel's for free. We have tons of tutorials. We have the beginner series, so it's nice and organized. You could start, video one, watch through them all. It'll get you caught up on kind of what we look for here and kind of like how my trading style, how I'm able to make money when price goes up or down. And then AI trading, I'm not 100% sure exactly what you mean by that. Thank you for the super chat. If you want to clarify, you don't have to send another super chat, but just try to clarify. Maybe one of the mods can let me know. And I'll try to answer that a little bit more in detail. We will see the bears buying at the top. Shout out to JJ. Yeah, I would expect if you did push up here, right? You're probably going to have people trying to buy up here. For me personally, I will not be buying up there, even if we go into new all-time highs. I'm not 100% out of the market. I am a lot out of the market. I'm not 100%. So if we did come up, right, I'm still partially exposed. So I'll just enjoy that. But definitely would not be looking to buy more on that way up. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think people already bought the top. Honestly, I think a lot of people probably bought the top here, and then they were like, "Oh my God, we're rich." Oh wait, hang on a second. Now we're back down. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Do I think XRP will decouple from Bitcoin in the bear market? I mean, it's not impossible. I'm not expecting that at all. There's no real reason for me to expect that. So yeah, simple answer. I'm not expecting that. Let's see. Shout out to Mr. Raymond. He just says, is there any AI doing trading for me? Not really. No. Right now, I have no AI bots or anything running. You can. I know Femex has a lot of AI trading bots. I've made a couple of videos on it. I don't have any bots running right now. But yeah, you can check out Femex. I know they have a lot of AI trading. Or a lot of AI trading bots. But I don't have any running right now. It's not something I do often. All my trading is manual. Shout out to Crypto Billy in the chat. What is going on, Billy? Welcome in. Can we take a look at Near? Yeah, I'll try to take a look at some of the altcoins as well. Shout out to Simon. Says, why don't you factor ETF Vanguard or the rate cut? I'm a technical trader, right? We talk about this a lot. It's not that rate cuts wouldn't be bullish, right, or wouldn't be positive for the market. It's just at this point, right, like the charts are pointing down. I am almost 100% a technical trader. There's never been a time, not one time, right, where I am making a decision based off the chart and then some kind of bullish news comes out, and I'm like, man, I should have been paying attention to the news and not the charts. It's never happened, right? But vice versa, it's happened a million times, right? When I'm looking at the chart, I've said to myself, thank God I don't trade the news, right? So yeah, it's like, in my opinion, in order to get something to bust you out of here, it has to be some kind of unexpected bullish news. And it's going to be hard, right? Because, like, let's just assume you're going into a bear market, right? And somehow you know that 100%. On any pump, everybody is going to try to create some kind of narrative and, try to figure out some way to hope that we go into new all-time highs. Like, this is just very indicative of a bear market, right? Like, people get very upset. Like, I would say the number one thing that not the number one thing, but one big thing is, like, it's just funny. Like, down here, right, people were almost upset that I was looking for a bounce, right? And it was probably because they were getting very scared because they probably bought in at the top, right? Not the top of the bull market, but this top, right? And then they're like, oh my God, I'm super down. Maybe they sell their bags. And then you start to talk about a bounce coming in, and they're like, no, right? Now they're emotionally inclined to hope for lower prices because they're out of the market, right? They're going to be rooting for price to continue going down. And it's almost like people are a little upset that we were looking for a bounce here. Same thing here. And one of the things that we talked about, regardless of if you have euphoria or not, typically when people are getting angry at people calling for lower prices, or people are upset about hearing for lower prices, and they're saying, like, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, which they weren't saying here, right? And we wound up getting the bounces. When everybody starts to say buy the dip, right, doesn't mean that you can't bounce from that dip. But usually that's the dip you don't want to buy. Now, maybe they're right? Maybe they'll be right here. But, I've even seen this all the way up towards 108K because obviously as a trader, we want to understand that these moves are coming before they actually happen, right? We shorted the all-time high. We shorted this retracement at 116K. We shorted this retracement at 107, or the Discord did. We had the setup. I missed that trade, just being fully transparent there. But I did catch these two trades. But, when we try to front run this stuff, right, it's not kindly taken when you're at $108,000 and you start talking about 94 to 91K. And that is exactly what we were talking about because we had our macro volume profile, right? And we say to ourselves, well, hey guys, if we lose this value area high and we can't hold the 50-week moving average, which honestly wasn't the expectation because of our high time frame money flow coming out, right, on the 2-day. But when we get accepted here, I have no option, right? I don't say, oh, we're going to 91K because I have some kind of emotional bias. It's just that, well, hey, I just know through my years of trading that once I get accepted into this profile this late in the cycle, and more importantly, like, forget about the cycle, just money flow, right? All this money flow is coming out on the medium time frames, on the lower time frames. This is indicative of macro lower highs and lower lows to come. And when you just look at this from a fixed range volume profile perspective, it's like, well, hey, if we get accepted below this value area high and we can't get back out, the next likely place for price to go is the POC. If we lose the POC, the next likely place for price to go is 91 to 94K, where we had the golden pocket a little bit higher at 94K. People did not like that, right? People were very unhappy with me for saying that, right? All the way up here. This guy's an idiot. He's missing the bottom. I was buying Bitcoin at $21,000, right? You have to understand that. Like, I did not miss the bottom. This is not the bottom to me, right? So people don't like to hear that. But what happens, right? Like, when we're sitting, and I get it, right, guys? I totally understand. No way we're never going below 100K again. That's like another big thing, like, people like to say, we'll never break 100K again. And it's like, I don't know, man, right? Like, if we get stuck in here, I have to look for that rotation down. And people will be upset. This guy's a clown. This guy's a perma bear. But what happens, right? Sure enough, right? Why were we looking for the continuation down here? Look at your high time frame money flow. Even the 16-hour giving you the early signal. 2-day money flow. You could still front run this, right? It's not crossing into the red, but this is clearly trending out. This indicates the overall trend. It doesn't call for the little bounces, right? But it does indicate the overall trend. And you have the volume profile theory working with you as well. So very high probability that if we got accepted in here, this was the target. People don't like to hear it, but what happens? Well, of course, we get the move down there, right? And it doesn't matter what the narrative was. What about the ETFs? You don't understand. Bitcoin's more fundamentally bullish than ever. It's like, that's fine. I agree with you. I totally agree with you. It does not transfer one-to-one on the move you're going to get that day or that week, right? And then it's like, I wonder how mad those people are now, right? We went down to 80,500. It's like they thought that was bad. We had lower targets. So it's just why I don't pay attention to narrative. It's why I don't really pay a super amount of attention to what people are saying. It just does not matter to me, right? Like the narratives don't matter. If the chart looks like this, I don't care what the news is. To me personally, especially if the news is expected, like, oh, we're going to cut the rates this much, and then they cut the rates that much. This stuff, you have to understand, gets priced into the market beforehand. In order for bullish news to give you some kind of crazy bounce to the upside, it essentially has to be unexpected, right? Otherwise, it's kind of buy the rumor, sell the news, right? So that's why I don't pay as much attention to narratives, right? And the other thing is they could say, hey, we're going to cut rates. And then they get up there and they're like, hey, we analyzed, we're taking a data-driven approach. We looked at the data and it turns out we're actually going to slow down stuff. We're going to pause the rates or whatever, right? Like that stuff is not, that stuff's not 100% guaranteed either, right? So that's just the way I work, right? And anytime we have a rate cut and it comes in as expected, it's more often than not a sell the news event, right? So, that's kind of where I come from. So, let's see. Shout out to Aziz said, Frankie, what if the first local area of rejection, local golden pocket at 88.6 or value area high or both? What time frames? That signal a short setup up there? It depends, right? It's really hard for me to kind of predict exactly what the confirmation is going to be like until you actually come up and interact in that level. So it really depends. It's kind of hard, right? I would probably be looking, if I had to try to front run that. Yeah, I mean, if you could get back up there, I mean, it would definitely be a lower time frame, right? Like, we're looking at the 1 hour here, right? Like, I don't know. This is not necessarily exactly what I would be looking for. I'm actually not interested in this because I'm already short from up here. So I'll just let my short play out. No real reason for me to take a new one. But, what I would be looking for is I would go down, below the 1 hour, right? Like, am I getting 30-minute bear divs? Am I getting 15-minute bear divs? What is the money flow looking like? Do I have 15-minute money flow coming out, right? For example, if we had come up here and put in a 15-minute bearish divergence, right, with our 15-minute money flow crossing over into the green. Crossing over into the red. Well, that could, if that happens, right, you have the bearish divergence. That is a local reversal signal, right, or local reversal trigger. And then if that 15-minute money flow is crossing over into the red as well, what is my 4 hour looking like? Do I have a 4 hour red dot? If I have a 4 hour red dot with a 15-minute money flow looking to cross over into the red with a 15-minute bearish divergence as an entry trigger, well, I can anticipate the bear div to give me a drop back into the range. And then if that 15-minute money flow, let's say it comes into the green and we go back into the red, at that point, I'm looking for this local trend to continue with lower highs and lower lows. And that's kind of how I would handle that, right? But if I came up here and I did not see those confirmations, I wouldn't take the trade. Maybe I don't see a 15-minute bear div and I see a different type of confirmation. Maybe it's an SFP, which I wouldn't look for up here. But maybe there's bearish CVD divergences. There's many different confirmations you can look for. But I typically take a lot of my entries on the lower time frames. Let's see. Shout out to Tennessee EcoMan. Says, how do we know it's not just AI controlling the charts to shake us out? AI is everywhere. I hope so. They're just trying to fake everybody. But I'm actually pretty comfortable in my positions right now, to be quite honest, right? And I'm talking about like my long-term positions, right? Because like I'm still partially exposed. Listen, if the TA is wrong here and this thing shoots off into new all-time highs, I'm still exposed to the market. I'm still excited about those gains. But I'm in a comfortable position that if we do go into a bear market, I am happy with the profits that I've taken. So kind of happy, right? So it's like I don't even really care if this is wrong about a bear market. It's definitely looking like the higher probability here. People will say, what happened? I thought this was bearish. I thought we were bearish. Why are we pumping, right? It's all part of the longer-term plan, right? I don't even know if we're going to get that move up there. But, you can get a pretty significant pump here, as I've covered many times. You can get a pretty significant pump, and it does not change the higher time frame context. Like, take this, for example. In 2021, guys, we got the move down to this Golden Pocket 786. And what happens here, right? Well, what would my sentiment be here? and I could talk about this because I actually had my channel back here, right around where I started my channel. All my high time frame money flow. Look at the 3-day money flow crossing into the red, right? At this point, I'm looking for lower highs and lower lows. 4-day money flow. Crossed into the red even earlier, right? At that point, you're looking for macro lower highs and lower lows. So look what happens here. You end up getting a 47% pump to the upside. If Bitcoin pumped, and everybody would be like, oh my God, Bitcoin's up 47% in the last X amount of days, X amount of months. How could you be bearish? I thought it was a bear market, right? It's like, well, this does not invalidate the longer term trend, right? Just like not every pump is created equal, right? Like this pump does not necessarily mean you're going to all-time highs, even though you pumped, like even the first pump, right? Like from here to here. Oh my God, we're up 38% in a month. This is, not even, it was less than a month, right? It was like 20 days, right? Oh my God, in the past few weeks, Bitcoin's up 44%. How could you be bearish? I thought this was a bear market. It's like, you got to zoom out, right? You have to zoom out. That's why this high time frame money flow is so important, right? So that would be my bias, right? Like, sure, we can bounce, right? But macro lower highs and lower lows are the higher probability scenario. It's the same thing here, right? Now, could we have potentially just seen everything fake out and we ripped up here and put in new all-time highs? Sure, that could have happened. It was just a lower probability scenario. It's not predictions, right? You have to move from a prediction-based mindset to a prediction-based mindset to a probability, right? You don't have to know 100% if this is the bottom or 100% if this is the top. You just have to manage the risk, right? And that's why when you take profits up here, it's like, yes, like I'm comfortable with my positions here. If we push up, that's fine. I'm still partially exposed to the market. Like whatever, I'll make a little bit of extra money. But if we go down, there is no reason for me to sacrifice the gains that I've made in this cycle from about $20,000 all the way to the high, right? Like there's no reason for me to sacrifice all these gains when we could be entering a bear market. I would be much more upset if you're going to be much more upset if you don't take profits and you go into a bear market than you are if you're going to get yourself mostly out of the market. And then if it pumps, it's like, all right, well, cool. I've already made a bunch of money and now I can make a little bit more money. I'm going to be less upset about not being fully in the market for another move up than I would be if we get a bear market to come in and I don't take any profits, right? So it's just like a probability mindset, right? And that's why risk management comes in handy, or not in handy, but comes in, it's so important, right? It's like you don't need to know, should I put my whole bag in here for new all-time highs or are we going into a bear market? It doesn't have to be that black and white. And more often than not, you're not going to have that black and white answer. I could say to myself back here, my black or white answer is money flows in the red. I'm looking for a lower high and a lower low, right? That's my black or white answer, but that's not guaranteed either, right? Just because the charts are pointing this way doesn't mean it's guaranteed. But of course, it's going to be the higher probability, and I'm always going to bet on those probabilities, right? Because over time, if I'm wrong about them, if they're right more than they're wrong, you're going to wind up, right? Or in the positive. So, and when I take all the bearish evidence pieces, right? If I have 2 pieces of paper here and I list off the possibilities of the bear market coming in and the reasons why it could be coming in, that list looks like this, right? The list of like coming into new all-time highs is like, this time is different. That's it. It's like this time is different. Money printing. No euphoria, but it's like all these are hard evidence pieces, right? It's like bearish divergences, money flow coming out. These are things that I can actually solidify are happening on the chart. Like this stuff is all stuff that I would hope is the case for a new all-time high, but I don't trade based off hope. I trade off actual information. Doesn't mean that the hope can't wind up coming true, can't end up becoming true one day. But again, it's just nothing I'll ever bet on, right? And I guess you could say I'm partially betting on it because I'm not fully out of the market. But I'm happy, guys. If this goes into all-time highs, I'm happy. If it goes into the bear market, I'm happy. And that all has to do with risk management, right? And I understand a lot of people are in different situations, right? I was in a very cushy position here because I was in from the low, right? People say, like, the bull market hasn't started yet. I just don't understand how that is an argument. It just doesn't really make sense. Yeah. We'll see. Hopefully, shout out to Stupid Bitcoin. Thank you for the super chat, brother. I appreciate you. He said, after the hit and run 9 months ago, I got my settlement, got my funded account, and moved to the California mother lode. 2026 will be fun. Thanks, Frankie, for years of positive coaching. You're a boss. Shout out to Stupid Bitcoin. Let's go, baby. And one day, bro, we're going to I'm telling you, I said this since the first time you came to my live stream, bro. We're turning that into Smart Bitcoin. Stupid Bitcoin. We're changing that name, bro, at some point. But shout out to you, brother. Thank you so much for the super chat. And congrats on the move. Let's go. Shout out to you, brother. Shout out to JJ said, but not everyone made money in the last bull runs. Yes, true. I would argue that most people got wrecked in previous. Most people get wrecked in these bull runs. Shout out to Maxwell said, yeah, like moon boy theories. Yeah, I mean, that's just my thing. And listen, guys, I'll never come up here and pretend like I'm the all-seeing eye. I'm going to be right every time. I think I'm one of the probably few people out there that is open about, only because it's the truth, right? Like, I could be wrong. I have been wrong before. Why have I been wrong before? Because the charts aren't right 100% of the time, right? So I have been wrong before. I will be wrong again at some point. It's impossible to be right every single time. And that's why I always kind of cover, like, hey, guys, this is what I think, right? I'll just, like, make this super simple, right? Like, here's the first top we made. Here's 126K. Right? And now we're kind of like hanging out down here. It's like, that's why I always say, in my opinion, right, based off my years of experience, based off of years of trading, based off of my many cycles, or not many, but like the prior cycles I've been in, multiple prior cycles, it is looking much higher probability that the lower high and the lower low, if we get the lower high, this is a higher probability, right? But of course, there's always a chance for that to be wrong. But again, right, not a prediction-based mindset. You don't have to be all in or all out right now, right? So this is why I try to explain my plans. And I understand not everybody's in from $20,000. And I think that's why there's a lot of pain, right? Like a lot of people were probably buying up here, still holding their bags. Maybe some people were buying up here, still holding their bags. And that's a brutal situation to be in, right? I'm not going to pretend like I've never been in that situation. I get it. And it's part of the reason why I trade the way I trade is because I've gone through all those bad things, right? I've been a bad trader. I've been a bad investor. I've made every mistake that everybody makes in investing in crypto specifically. And I've changed that by understanding the charts and, being through multiple cycles, through experience, through getting wrecked, through making mistakes and correcting them. So, if you've ever round tripped a bag, right? Again, risk to reward. Like, I don't know if people want to call for all-time highs. I don't know what price they're calling for. But for example, right, like if we go up to 150K, like up here, of course, I'm already up almost 500%, right? So it's like, am I going to risk 500% profits for a potential move into 150K for an extra 18%, up to 200K for an extra 40% when I've already have 500% in profit, right? It's risk to reward, right? If the bear market rolls in here, right, you're going to be kicking yourself if you ride it from here to here and you don't take any profits, right? I even took profits on our first top right here, right? Because those were the targets. Target number one was between 92 and 102K. We bing-bonged around there, took a little bit of profit, came back up, and then I actually took profits kind of on the way down here a little bit once the chart started looking a little bit bearish. And if we retrace, I may even take a little more profit, right? But there is a portion of my Bitcoin that I will not sell just to be exposed in case we get that push to the upside, right? But these are decisions you have to make, right? It doesn't have to be all in, all out. I think it's really dangerous. That's gambling, right? That is 100% gambling. You're either going to win it all or you're going to lose it all. The only difference is that if you do hold it and you quote-unquote lose it all, right, you're probably going to eventually come back up in the next cycle, right? Whereas in gambling, you're going to lose the hand and your money's just gone with no chance of coming back. So we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, shout out to JR said, I know millionaires that have a 35% hit rate. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's like a lot. This is kind of like very indicative of like, I can almost instantly tell if somebody's new to the market when they say like, how many of the last 10 trades did you win? And it's like, you're looking at the wrong thing, right? It's like, I get it. It makes a lot of sense. It's like, you want to win more trades than you lose, of course. But it's really the wrong metric, right? Because you can have a 50% win rate and with good risk management still be very profitable, right? It's I'll say it once again. Your win rate is not as important or even equal to your risk management. Your risk management is going to be the more important thing anytime. You do not need an 80% win rate to make money trading. You don't even need a 60 or 70% win rate to make money trading. That's not what people look for, though. People just want to know, what can I look at to get a 100% win rate so I can just put my whole bank account in, make a bunch of money, and know exactly when to buy and sell. This does not exist, and I hope I can stop people from chasing at something that doesn't exist. There is nothing that exists like that. It's a farce, right? It's not real. I chased it for a very long time. But at the end of the day, there's no answer or there's no shortcut. The shortcut is going to make your journey longer. You have to put in the work. You have to learn. And that learning is going to you're going to have to sacrifice some investment, right? You're going to have to sacrifice, especially in trading, you're going to have to sacrifice a little bit of money to get in, learn, lose money, feel the emotions, find the mistakes that you're making, and then fix them. That's what we talk about a lot in the premium Discord as well, is like when you lose and you move your stop loss and you get liquidated, you have to identify that mistake that you made, and you have to actually identify it, understand. You have to be self-critical and say, I did this. Why did I lose? Why did I get liquidated on this trade? Well, I was in profit. And then it went against me. I moved my stop loss down because I wanted to give it a little more room to run. Why'd you move your stop loss? Well, I didn't want to lose the trade. You're avoiding losing a trade. You cannot avoid losing trades. The best traders in the world lose money, right? You can't have a 100% win rate. That's very important. But it's a difficult skill and a difficult thing to understand because most people just want to get rich quick. They want an easy cheat code to just make $1 billion with no work. It just doesn't exist right now. Of course, hopefully I come up here and I show you guys you can make a lot of money trading, right? It is possible, but it's not easy, right? This is a result of many years of losing and going through the dirt and the grind of like losing hope and being frustrated and, late nights back testing, etc. Right? It doesn't happen overnight, right? And I'm just never going to sell it like you're going to be able to get on the charts and, go on the 1 minute chart and find, $1,000 really fast today, right? Like you're not going to be able to do that right out the gate. But that should motivate you, right? Because if it was that easy, it would be too good to be true, right? Which would mean it's like basically a scam. Trading is not a scam. The way people sell trading is a scam. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme, but you could definitely make a lot of money, and hopefully I'm proof of that for you guys. Someone's got to say the truth out there. Can we all just hug? So combative. My dude is here offering years of value. Shout out to Baby Genius. Yes, have everybody hug each other in the chat, right? Almost kind of bear market vibes, right? This is what happens. I'll never forget it, guys. We never really get, we still don't really, we never really get hate. But, you get to see the aggressiveness. People are mad, right? It is what it is, right? Typically when that happens, it's not really a good sign, right? Over here, we talked about these exact same situations. If you guys have been watching my channel for some time, you know all about that weekly blood diamond that we had up here. You know all about that weekly money flow coming out. And you know all about me saying this does not look good for new all-time highs. I hope it happens. Is it possible? Yes, but it's not looking good. I got cooked. This isn't really happening to this degree right now, but people are not happy when we talk about the lower prices, but it doesn't stop them from coming in. People are really mad at 94 to 90K. We're below that right now, right? So, it's like, I don't know, not good. Everybody get really bearish. Let's see. Pan of the Prophet said the market is crashing, but at least we're all together. Shout out to Mazalog. I don't know how to say your name, but he says, "Is crazy that will happen. Everything all over again." Here we go. Shout out to Maz. I don't know if you're talking about like the 4-year cycle. I mean, listen, guys, I'll be honest. It's 4-year cycle. Like if this winds up being a bear market, like there is a part of me that just looks at this chart and says, good Lord, if this happens again and we go into a traditional 4-year cycle bear market, it's just like these liquidity cycles are just so predictable. It almost makes me think like, is that too easy? That might be too easy. I don't know. Not that I would bet on that, right? Of course, I'm always going to go off the charts, but it's just like, I don't know, man. I was just talking to my dad today, who, by the way, sold like 125K. Sold his entire bag. He's totally out. And I talked about how that man sells tops like it's his job. I guess technically it is his job. And, when I talked to him about that, it's like, I'm like, yeah, we talk about the 4-year cycle. I'm like, how weird would it be if this just all plays out again? It's almost too predictable, which makes me a little interested in to see like what this bear market looks like. Will we see it play out differently? Because if this thing just repeats again, it's out of control. That is out of control. But so far, right, like current top, 530 days. Last cycle, from the halving to the top, 546. Last cycle before that, 526 days. I mean, it's insane. So I hope it's not the case. But of course, right, a lot of things pointing towards that. So let's take a quick look at Ethereum. Not really a huge update on the alts, guys. Again, right, like Bitcoin's going to be the one moving the market here. But the hope here for altcoins is that if we get the bigger retracement, hopefully, let me hide some of this stuff, right? If we get the bigger retracement, hopefully somewhere up to, say, the 50-week moving average, right? Like, again, we've done this in the past 2 cycles. You eventually do get some kind of retracement up in there. Of course, this is going to move over time. Currently, it sits at about $102,000. But the hope is on that retracement, we could see some relief on the altcoins, right? And then hopefully if dominance dumps, we can start to see the altcoins outperform. I just don't think that if we did even see that it's going to be that God tier, everything makes crazy new all-time highs. I think it's going to be very selective. I think it's going to be more of a rotational alt season. But we'll see, right? We can, give more information on that as it develops. But that's the hope, right? Get the retracement on Bitcoin. And then hopefully dominance can get the drop to the downside, which, I will say, right? We don't have a ton of things lining up perfectly here. 2-day money flow still trying to crack back into the green. 3-day money flow is back in the red. 4-day money flow is back into the red. So, or not back into the red, but has finally crossed over into the red. So it's like, this looks weak, right? Like this would indicate potential lower highs and lower lows, which of course would be good for the altcoins, hopefully, right? If Bitcoin can rally a little bit, dominance can drop, the altcoins can kind of steal the show for a little bit. But again, it's like money printing would be a great assistance to that, right? But that would be more of a situation where Bitcoin continues up and then alts can really get their time, real big alt season. But, if we don't get that, right, I would be looking for it to be some kind of a more rotational alt season. Looking at Ethereum, right, there's not anything on the Ethereum chart where it's like Bitcoin looks super bearish and Ethereum looks like super primed for, 10K. This just looks the same as Bitcoin, right? So obviously Ethereum is going to move the rest of the altcoins you would expect. 4-day money flow trying to come back up here. 3-day money flow still just crossed into the red. 5-day money flow still in the red. 6-day money flow still just crossed over into the red. Weekly money flow still just crossed over into the red. So the hope here is, again, for retracements. Retracements until proven otherwise, right? Doesn't mean you can't go to all-time highs. What is wrong with this mouse? Doesn't mean you can't go to all-time highs, but the anticipation here based off money flow would be lower highs and lower lows until proven otherwise, right? Now, as we play around with our key level of support here, you guys can see barely hanging on to that 786, guys. If we lose this 786 sitting at 2722, if we break down below there, I'm going to be looking to obviously take out this low, but the next confluent level of support is going to be sitting between the daily MPOC at 2444. Daily MPOC 2444. We have the point of control of the range sitting right in the middle, and then another daily MPOC between about 2245. Right, so that is the next big level to look at. If we can't get the bigger retracement from this zone, which obviously is looking a bit sketchy here, you're hoping you can stay on top of this, but once we lose it, could be headed down deeper into this big zone. Once again, sitting between 2450 and 2239. And of course, this would line up with your volume profile because we are pretty much accepted into this range. Breakdown, can't get out. Next stop could be eventually the POC. Losing the 786, that's really the only other level we have underneath us that I would be looking at. So if we do get the retracement, obviously, I just deleted it. Let me get that back on the chart. So, if we do get a big retracement, that next big level to the upside would be still the golden pocket 786 value area high, sitting between 3247 and 3520. I don't know if you're going to get up there, but if you did, definitely the next level of resistance to look at. But in order to really get above this value area high, maybe we can creep up closer towards that $4,000 level we have up here. But again, right, like we're very far away even from the value area high, right? So it's like we're 24% away from the value area high. So there's no reason to look up here until we can break above there. And we're not even close to that yet. But if you can get up there, right, you don't get the rejection from the golden pocket 786 value area high, you flip that to support, money flow starts coming back up, maybe we can look up towards $4,000. But right now, I'm going to be looking at this volume profile, value area high at 3520, POC sitting at 3346, and then your value area low at $2,100, right? And if I just hide the MPOCs just to give you a little bit of a simpler outlook, get rid of the 786, get rid of the fib, get rid of the fib, right? Here's your volume profile. What happened when Bitcoin lost its $108,000 value area high with money flow coming out? We ended up eventually getting the continuation through the range. So this could be the anticipation. It could get invalidated if we could break out there, but it's this magnetic nature of these volume profiles. 2-day money flow just crossed over into the red. This is more indicative of lackluster retracements, lower highs, and lower lows. So until we break above there, I will be looking for something like this, potentially targeting the POC of the range, right? Same thing here. Deviate above, can't get back out. You start dumping. Money flow crosses into the red. Look at the massive bounce. Oh, my God. Money flow just crossed red. There is no reason to anticipate all-time highs there. And what happens? Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? Money flow indicates the overall trend. Green and red dots indicate the ebbs, flows, ebbs, flows, ebbs, flows, ebbs, flows. Money flow indicates this. And, of course, we had our value area in line there as well. Can't get out of the value area high. POC is next. We got this big liquidation wick, but essentially the POC is next. Lose the POC, go to the value area low, deviate below. Everybody calls Ethereum dead. We see the massive 786 that we had down here at $1,400. We look for the bounce, get back into the range, flip the POC, go back to the high, right? Just simple volume profile theory there. So it's the same thing. What do we have happening here? Deviation, back into the range, money flow crosses into the red. So just like on this money flow crossover into the red, we don't look for massive new highs. We look for lower highs, lower lows. It's the same thing here. Lower highs, lower lows, or maybe if we get a little bit of a bigger retracement, lower high, lower low, right, to fill that entire range. Hope it's not the case, right? But we need big moves here to invalidate that thought process. So maybe these high time frame green dots give us the retracement, right? That's what I'd be looking at. 5-day green dot looking to print, 6-day green dot looking to print, weekly green dot looking to print. But just to be clear, that is indicative of an ebb or flow up before a lower high and a lower low, right? I can come up here to like the 2-day. You can see, oh, we got a green dot on the daily, on the 2-day. Well, you get a little push up, but money flow indicates lower high, lower low. This is what keeps you on the right side of the trades. We can use this as a filter to understand whether we should be favoring longs or shorts, right? And anytime you have money flow coming out, you are going to be favoring the shorts. Doesn't mean you can't bounce. Doesn't mean you can't get significant bounces, right? I mean, this bounce was 34%. A 34% pump is not bullish just because it's a 34% bounce, right? If it's going against money flow, that is something you want to fade. Money flow is so important. It lets you know whether you want to fade the highs or you want to super long the lows, right? Right now, we are more of a situation where you would want to be fading the highs. For me personally. Shout out to, oh, God, man. These new names are crazy. Daru. I don't know if I said that right, but he said, yeah, I round-tripped in 2021, and it's looking like another round trip in 2025. At least I took small amounts of profits on the way up. Shout out to Daru. Well, better than, hey, if you round-trip a whole bag last cycle and you took some profits this cycle, guess what that means? That means that you are learning and improving. And then maybe in the next cycle, you'll feel a little bit more comfortable taking a little bit more out, right? Maybe instead of taking, whatever the small amount of profit you took, maybe you'll take a little bit more. And then on the second, maybe you'll be more comfortable, right? It's a learning process and just about improving, right, over time. It doesn't shock me, right, that most people get wrecked their first cycle in crypto. It makes total sense, right? Like, you can't just start doing something new and expect to be the best at it. So, yeah. Let's see. Morning from Bangkok. Shout out to Jars Ager. Shout out to you, brother. Welcome in. Shout out to Bangkok. All right, so we took a look at Ethereum. Let's take a quick look at Solana. Yeah, I mean, not really a ton of updates here on the altcoins, guys. Solana back down. Take a look at the 1 hour here. Let me just get my bearings, right? So we got the top of the lows here. Yeah, playing with this value area low, guys. I mean, I don't like the loss of this 786. This 786 is a very, very, very important 786. Very important. Why? Well, when we look at this 786 is pulled from the low to the high. If we want, again, right, like if you're looking for higher lows and massive new all-time highs, you got to be above that 786 in my opinion, right? If we lose this, it does put us at a lot of risk of coming down to break this low at $95. Now, we do have other levels of support down here. You have a daily MPOC at 118.97. You have a daily horizontal sitting here at 112.68. And then you have some more confluence down here at about 106. But it's just like really for the low high, higher low, higher high. I just don't like the way that it looks. Losing that 786 would not be good, and we are now currently sitting below it, right? So you really want to reclaim here. Now, is this a place where I would look for a fresh short? Absolutely not. Doesn't mean you can't continue down. But, in order for me to look for a short on Solana, I would need some kind of significant retracement, something like this, right? Something like a retracement before this is where you want to short, right? You don't want to short down here. So you're at support. So could you bounce? Yes. You would really like to get above that 786. If you can't get back above that 786, I am looking for lower prices personally, right? And of course, this is the same situation as everything else. 4-day still just kind of doing its own thing. 4-day is the only thing that just kind of has been moving on its own here. This 4-day has just been like in la la land. I keep saying it's in the outfield picking dandelions. Just like not, I don't know what this is doing. But your 3-day money flow, of course, we're coming back into the green here. It's better than not coming into the green, but of course, this VWAP could easily give you a red dot and a drag deeper into the red. So this is not enough for me to say, oh my God, massive fake out, right? You need this, you need this to come up much higher for me to kind of talk about that being a massive fake out. This could easily be a lower high before coming into a bigger, deep red wave. 4-day or 5-day money flow, still in the red here. Maybe the green dot gives you the retracement, but again, when you look at this at face value, you're going to be looking for lower highs, lower lows. We have some of the bigger targets up here. PLC is still your next target to the upside, 145.57. Once you get above that, we can look towards the golden pocket 786 anchored VWAP, sitting between 152.37 and 161.03. So hope you can hold support. I mean, we are at key support here. Got to flip that 786. But again, right, like even if we get the bounce, still not looking super good long term. So yeah, we'll see, right? Clearly not a good sign. Let's bring it back. Let's see this, right? Maybe check the 3-day. Yeah, 3-day money flow. So, like, if we come back to the last significant 3-day money flow crossover, like even here, you didn't go much lower, but still, what do you get? Money flow is coming out. You bounce, but it's a lower high before a lower low, right? And then even this, right? Money flow is in the red. You finally come back into the green, but we still put in a lower high. And then let's take a look at the, you look at the 5-day. All the way back here. I mean, it looks like the crossover happened right here. What happens? Lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? At least on your bodies. So just kind of point that out, right? Like, this is not a bullish sign, right? This is not what you want to see for new all-time highs. Could it fake out? Sure. Do I make trades based off that information? No. I make trades based off of the face value of the indicator, which is obviously crossing into the red. It's a fresh crossover, right? It's like literally right here. Massive downside. Happens after that more often than not, right? We don't have a lot of history to look at on Solana, but of course, just kind of showing that. It crosses into the green. Like, what do you want to see for massive moves up, right? You want to see a big red wave, right? A big red wave with a crossover into the green. That indicates massive moves up. We have the opposite happening. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's a fake out. That's not what I'm looking for, though. Let's see. Def going to take profit in the next cycle. This was my first complete cycle. Start at the top and went all the way down when BTC went to 15K, and now all the way up to 125K, and now going back down. Yeah, shout out to JC. And don't feel bad about that, guys. Like I said, I am not perfect, right? Like, if I were to try to come up here and tell you guys I've never round-tripped a bag before, it would be a complete and total lie. I've round-tripped bags before. I've felt that pain before, and it stung me enough to actually because here's the thing. I think it's almost necessary to feel that pain, right? Because when you come into crypto, especially with the way crypto is sold, right? Get rich quick, right? Which could definitely happen. But I just think it's like falsely advertised. But if you don't feel that pain of round tripping, like, because if you round trip the cycle here, you probably heard a lot of people saying this time is different. Hold on. Don't sell the bottom. It's going up to $1 million. It's going up to 100K. 30K is the bottom. And you're probably listening to all that stuff and you're just like, oh man, like even if you were buying down here, you're like, man, I want more profit. I want more profit. It's not until you feel, right? Because you don't want to sell here because you think, well, what if there's more upside, right? The one thing, it's like, what if there's more upside? I'm going to miss out on money. right? But if you buy in down here and you're still up massively, there is no problem with taking profit off the table. You have to protect yourself. And I think a lot of people, it is a necessity to feel that pain, because only this pain, the only thing that can override the emotion of greed and hoping for higher prices, whether you know if it's coming or not, the only thing to overpower, like the only thing to kind of sober you up enough to just take some profit and accept that if price goes up, you won't make as much money. The only thing that can push you to do that is to feel the pain of not doing that. This pain of round tripping bags can, on the next cycle, you're going to be thinking to yourself, well, hey, like we're at 102K. This was one of my major targets, but a lot of people are saying 200K could come in. If I take profit here and we go up to 200K, I'll make less money because I'll be partially out of the market, right? But that's a gambling mindset. And if you take a gambling mindset here, right, being greedy, hoping for higher prices, then it doesn't play out, you're going to be less likely to have that gambling mentality, and you're going to be more sober thought. So you're going to have more of a sober, you're going to be more sober-footed, if that makes sense, because you're going to be like, all right, listen, like if I sell here and we go up to 200K, I'll make less profit, but I remember what it felt like back here when I thought that same thing. And, it's not going to hurt me to take a little bit of profit, and if it keeps going up, I'll make I'll make a little bit less, but I'll still be in the market. Like you kind of have to feel that pain in order to eliminate that greed, right? Like if you have PTSD of round tripping in this cycle, it's going to be a lot easier to take profit at your targets in the next cycle. So don't feel bad, right? I think most people not only mess up their first cycle and maybe even their first two cycles, but I think it's actually like a necessity in order for you to stop messing up the cycles. You have to, it's like you got to touch the hot stove before you learn, like, I don't want to touch the hot stove anymore, right? I had to touch the hot stove 1,000 times, especially when it comes to my like day trading and leverage trading. I had to touch the hot stove 1 billion times. This strategy will be the one. This indicator will be the one. This whatever. This is the secret answer, right? Like the shortcut is the longest way to do this. I promise you. You have to put in the work. You have to learn. You have to take some bumps, take some scratches. You have to burn yourself a couple of times before you can understand the mistakes that you made and fix them moving forward. Whether you're talking about day trading, swing trading, position trading, investing, whatever it is, right? Sometimes I think it's a necessity to feel that pain. Hopefully that makes sense. Yeah, trade the market. Trade the market you have. Don't trade the market you want. If you get relief rally to 102K-ish, sell everything. Shout out to Dawaji. Shout out to you, brother. I'm sure I didn't say that right. He said that, not me. But I do agree with him. I wouldn't say, I'm not going to tell everybody to sell everything. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't tell you when to sell, right? I can only make decisions for myself and tell you what I think price might do. And hopefully that helps you understand how to make your own plans by using legit technical analysis. But yeah, it's I would pretty much agree. I wouldn't just say, sell everything. Again, not a financial advisor. But you got to trade the market that you have, right? Like, the market I want, guys, is that Bitcoin continues up to $1 million in the next year. I want that, right? But I just can't come up here and say it's going to happen, right? That would be very hard for me to do because I wouldn't really have any reason to look for that, right? So if it looks like it's going down, we're going to trade that market. But we'll see. It'll be the biggest celebration here, guys. If we go into new all-time highs, good Lord. CandleMafia pizza party, that's for sure. But yeah. All right, let's take a look at some of the macro bear market targets. I'm not going to talk about like bear market targets. I'll just talk about like the next significant targets to the downside, which of course, right, we've taken a look at this range all the way back here when we were trading up here on the way down. What do we look at, right? Well, hey, if we're cruising down here, where's that next volume profile we're going to be looking at? Well, the next area of balance is sitting right here. This value area high sits at about 69,889, call it 70K. This was labeled on the chart in my folder on the object tree, like as, I think it was like, please don't show this, because there were such lower levels, or it was like, oh my God, mommy, hold me levels. But this is pretty much going to be that next major zone to the downside. Right, you have your value area high here, about 70K, POC sitting at about 67.6, and then your value area low at 59.08. So, right, auction market theory, right, I'll just pull up all of these other areas of balance, right, or even just mark it off like this. There's your range number one. There's your upper range, right? And we could say to ourselves, hey, if we get rejected out of this range and accepted into this range, well, guess what? They're right on top of each other, but price is going to seek fair value. If we can't hold inside this value, it's going to gravitate into this value, right? Same thing right here. If we cannot hold, right, or not hold, but reclaim in this value and get a bigger push up, well, then guess what? If we continue to reject out of this range, well, we're probably going to get accepted into this lower range, right? So starting at $70,000, this would be the next macro target. I'm not saying you have to come down here today or tomorrow, but if this is indeed, maybe it's after a massive retracement. Maybe it's after a massive push into 116K, almost like a fake out of all-time highs before it moved down. At the end of the day, if and when we do come down here, which would be the anticipation eventually based off money flow, maybe the green dot on the 6-day prints, you get the push up, lower high, lower low into your next zone. This is the place to look. Very simple. Just volume profile theory. You can look at this as an overall range. If we lose that range, price is going to seek out fair value. It was the same thing back here. Obviously, we didn't have this price action to look at, but we had a previous range, and we say, well, hey, if we get rejected out of this range, which, by the way, one of the big reasons we looked for this rejection out of the range all started with our higher time frame money flow crossing into the red. Not really a value area low that I would look to long into new all-time highs. Why? Money flow is crossing into the red. I'm looking for lower highs and lower lows and lower highs and lower lows and lower highs and lower lows. Now, you might say to yourself, well, we didn't hit that value area low, and you would be absolutely correct. But we actually did wind up holding these just structural highs, right, at about $74,000. So, you know, this is really the level, right? I would say the value area high. But if we had come down into this value area high and got accepted below the POC, guess what I would be looking for? A move into 59 or pretty much 60K, right? 59.5. And at the end of the day, guys, if we saw this happen back here with all the high time frame money flow coming out, which, as you can see, was clearly not the case, right? We had the money flow come out here for the drop down, but then money flow crossed back green with massive bullish divergences, as you can see here. But if we had got accepted back down here, and our 2-day, 3-day, 5-day, 6-day weekly money flow was coming out, I would have been forced to say, hey, guys, this looks like the bear market, right? Now, this was not our anticipation at the moment because we were holding support. We had plenty of time left in the cycle, etc. But just to kind of show, right, like it's binary for me, right? Like I have no emotional bias. I just don't care. It's just like if we were to lose these key levels, we would be talking about potential bear market incoming. And why would that be the case? Well, at that point, you were below the 50-week move. You would have been below the 50-week moving average, which is not very bullish, right? And then we would have not been able to get above that 50-week moving average and probably melted down. But of course, that wasn't the case, right? We had money flow coming up. We had massive bullish divergences, right? Much different scenario. We were above the 50-week moving average. We just don't have that now. So if we do continue down, next major macro high time frame targets, not to be hit tomorrow or next week or maybe not even in the next few weeks or months, eventually would be looked at down here at about $70,000, we'll call it. It's kind of a psychological level, and it's the value area high of the range. Very simple. Can we pull some fibs here? Maybe we have a fib confluent with that as well. Pull from the low to the high. Well, the 786 is bang on that value area low, so that is nice confluence. Let's pull up the golden pocket. Whoops. And your golden pocket sits right on that POC value area high, right? So these would be the next big targets to the downside if we do indeed have that high time frame money flow continue us to the downside. Those are the next two big targets. This would be a bounce zone. Now, of course, it's very hard for me to say if I think that would be the bottom or not because I don't know what money flow is going to look like when we get down there. But this would be target number one for a potential bounce. Get accepted below the POC. I'm already looking towards the value area low. And then once you lose that golden pocket, you know the next likely place for price to go is that 786. So you have that confluence right there. This would give us about a 52% correction to the downside. Of course, with a traditional four-year cycle bear market, you would expect more than that. But let's start here, right? Maybe this time is different, right? Maybe the bear market winds up being different. Not that I would bank on that, right? But if I see something different down here, maybe we can start to entertain. We don't have the panic selling from all the euphoria and retail at the top. Maybe we have institutions propping it up, whatever is going on, right? At the end of the day, if I see the technical confirmations I wouldn't expect this to be the low forever. But if I saw the confirmations here and it starts to look good, I will. I just don't know what it's going to look like down there, right? We might wind up spending a lot of time up here maybe before eventually coming down. Maybe that gives money float some time to move. But at the end of the day, those targets are going to be sitting between 70 and 67.5. Lose 67.5, I'm looking down to about 60K. And then once we get down there, we can start talking about some lower targets. Another thing that would do is it also gets you into that retest of the previous all-time highs, which was something I was paying attention to last cycle. Or I'm sorry, last bear market, to start to identify where we could potentially see a bottom. Go back, revisit the all-time high. We deviate below it slightly. We get the massive weekly bullish divergences. Maybe it's similar up here. Right? Maybe we come down. Maybe we play on those previous all-time highs. And again, if I don't see signs on the chart to call for an early bottom here in the bear market, if that is what happens, if I do see it, we'll talk about it. If not, we'll probably be looking for some lower targets closer to about, the traditional 70% correction. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But just some, general ideas of what you could start to look for. 55K would be the bottom because of ETFs. Maybe. I mean, that would bring you not super far away, right? That's not too far off of the value area low, right? Like, it would be totally possible to get down here and then deviate slightly, right? But again, if I don't see this, like, it really depends on what price looks like, right? Or money flow. It kind of depends on what everything looks like, right? If we wind up coming down there and we are just starting to see this weekly money flow cross over into the red, well, I would have to be looking for lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. But who knows, right? Maybe that money flow comes into the red and I don't know exactly what this is going to look like, guys, right? So, like, maybe we kind of wiggle around. Money flow comes into the red. We get a drop down. We get a bounce. Money flow continues into the red. We get the lower high, the lower low. Maybe at that point, we've been in the red for quite some time. And then as we start to put in some high time frame bull divs down here, we see some confirmations. We have money flow looking across back into the green, and we can look for a potentially bigger move up. In which case, that could mean the bottom comes in early. But if I don't see that, right, I'd have to expect lower prices. But for me, it's like silly to even talk about this because I don't know what it's going to look like down here. There's no point in trying to predict it. So we'll just take it level to level. Can we look at the near chart? Yeah, we can try to take a look at near. I'm going to take a sip of that black coffee. Oh, it's hot. Shout out to Jars. Said, right now, not sure where the bottom will be. But as Frankie says, cycle may be changing. Yeah, I mean, it could be the case. But again, like, I know a lot of people be like, well, is the cycle different or not? And it's like, I don't know, right? But the good thing for me is I'm just going to react off the charts. It's kind of like how the cycle plays out is just like the conclusion I come to after the fact, right? It's like down here, my thought process was to get something close to what we had seen in the past, right? Which is like 70 to 80% down. And the big thing, like I said, was the all-time high retest, right? At that point, that gave us about a 71% correction. And I was personally looking between about 12 and 14K. We actually bottomed out at 15.5. But when we got down to like up here, we're saying, well, hey, maybe 12 to 14K. But once we started getting down into 14.5, and I start to see these massive weekly bullish divergences, and we start to see this money flow come up, it starts to look like, hey, I think the bottom is in, right? So we didn't get to 12 or 14K, but of course we were dollar cost averaging in. Not going to try to snipe the bottom with your whole bag. That's a dangerous game to play because then you wind up buying on the way up when you miss it. But pretty close, right? We were like $500 off, or maybe $1,000 off. So as soon as I see those confirmations, I start to say to myself, well, now that I have this new information, now that I have some confirmation on the chart, I think maybe we don't go to 14K. But it's impossible to call when you're up here, right? You're just getting that kind of zone that you're looking for based off your support and resistance, right? So yeah, we'll see. And if you're subscribed to the channel, guys, you will get all the information that I am looking at. Come on, Bitcoin. Do something here, man. Do something. Pop up, dump. Do something, man. Do something. But let's take a quick look at near. Come on over here to our... I haven't looked at near in quite some time. Yeah. Old. Let's get rid of this. Old. And we got this. So let's see here. What else do I have on this chart? Okay. So I'll just re-pull this because that is... All right. So let me mark this out for you. Bada boom. Value area high, PLC, value area low. Just get that a little cleaner. Bing. Bong. Oops. All right, so here's your little local volume profile, right? Even if we ignored, let me grab, let me just grab this, put it in a folder. All right, so here was our local value area. Beautiful respect on the low, back into the range, POC, value area high, deviation above, back in, back to the POC, lose the POC, back to the value area low, deviation, back in, back to the POC, value area high, value area low, high, low, high, low. Very respected range. We have now lost this value area. So where are we going to look for price to get gravitated to, or where would we expect the next place for price to go based off our volume profile theory after we get rejected out of a range? This is balance. If we are now in imbalance, where would we look for price to get gravitated to? Well, bear with me here. Let's just grab all this, put it in a folder, and hide it, right? Well, once you get rejected out of that range, where's your next local volume profile? Here it is, right? It's not even that clean. But at this point, your next key levels to the downside are going to be the POC at $1.35 and the value area low at $1.28. We could try to pull the Fibonacci retracements. I assume these are cooked. Let's go to the high. No. All right. Well, actually, you're at your macro 786. So this would be key level number 1. And then once you lose this, very simply, I would be looking down towards $1.34 to $1.28 to the value area low. Because remember, I know you have all these local levels. Here's your golden pocket. You bounce, you bounce, you bounce. That's your retracement. But eventually, it just ends up being overall lower high for lower lows. So this golden pocket is cooked. Once you lose the golden pocket, you're going to be looking for that 786 to come in. You ended up getting it. So this is kind of the level you need to hold. I don't really know how likely it is for this to hold because you're so deep into the profile here. I am inclined to expect if this is support, maybe you get the bounce, but I don't know. Filling this volume profile is probably going to be pretty high probability. Take a look at the higher time frames. 3-day money flow. Back in the red, trying to come up, though. 4-day money flow, trying to come up. 5-day money flow, trying to come up. 6-day money flow, coming out completely. Weekly money flow coming out. Yeah, money flow is really hard on these higher time frames for near. If you can get this 4-day money flow crossover, you would hope that it's on holding the 786, right? That 4-day money flow crossover happens. You could potentially anticipate a bigger trend to the upside. That's the signal I would look at. If you have Market Cipher, I would set the 4-day money flow crossover as an alert. Because that's kind of what you're hoping for, right? If you can get that, that's like the only argument I can make, right? Money flow crosses over into the green. You can see it right here. Higher low, higher high. Just basic money flow stuff. So maybe you can get that to happen. But again, I just don't have super anticipation of, everything else not doing well and then just, near gets a massive move up. And we'll have to see. But you are at support. It was nice because I was going to say, man, I don't know what we're bouncing off of here, so I'm probably going to be looking down here. But you are hitting the 786. So got to hold this. Once you lose that, I'm looking down here. Once again, $1.35 to $1.28. Do we have any MPOCs here? No. You got a weekly MPOC a bit below that volume profile. Daily. Nothing. All right. So this is the volume profile I would look at. Me personally, I'd always be more inclined to wait for the value area low and a deviation below. But you're at support here. Hopefully you can get some kind of a bounce, but you don't have any bullish divergences. Yeah, this looks like it wants to make another low, if I'm being honest. All right, look at that 90-minute momentum wave. Not a guarantee, but if that red dot prints this momentum wave, I can't unsee it. Looks like it wants to print a bullish divergence, which would probably call for another low to be made. So we'll see. If you could put these divs into the 786, maybe you get a little bit of a bounce. I would, of course, be careful with the longs until proven otherwise. But nothing really too crazy on here. These would be the key levels I would watch, though. 786 sits at about $1.56. So hold this. You're okay to continue up a little bit, but once you lose it, I'm looking down here. So there you go. All right, let's see. Yo, shout out to, oh my God, these names, bro. All these name changes are killing me. Shout out to Saba. I'm going to call you Saba. He said, can we do a recap on Bitcoin? Yes. I will leave you guys with a little bit of an update on Bitcoin before we drop off here. Also, by the way, guys, I forgot to bring this up. I said it. Cyber Week sales are live on FrankieCandlesTrading.com for the premium Discord, and we got 5 coupon codes. It's the same Black Friday 10 code from last week. So if you want to save an additional 10% on the premium Discord, we have the Cyber Week sales going on. Let's pull it up for you guys right here. Right, so we have all the sales going on here. We still have 6 2-year memberships available. These will run until the end of Cyber Week. And then we still have these discounts. Basically, the Black Friday deal gets extended into Cyber Week. And if you want to save an additional 10% on either the annual, biannual, or quarterly, no additional discount for the 2-year, but annual, biannual, and the quarterly, you can get an extra 10% if you use the discount code Black Friday 10. There's only 5 left, so check that out if you are interested. But yeah, so for Bitcoin, guys, I'll just leave you off with this. Let's take a look here. Come back over to our Bybit chart. So yeah, the hope here, guys, is let's see, 8-hour green dot looking to print. Come on, baby. So yeah, here's my overall update before I let you guys go. Rejecting, right, just for some context, we are rejecting the value area low of the range. I don't really love this, but as we hold on to this golden pocket, you are hoping. Come on. You are hoping that we can get this 4-hour money flow to continue to cook into the green here. We still have the 5-hour green dot printing. 4 hours already confirmed. 6-hour green dot looking to print. Money flow trying. Money flow trying. 8-hour green dot. Still pretty far away, but still kind of looking to print. You know, we'll keep an eye on this. If you can get the 8-hour green dot with our 30 and 24-minute money flow crossing into the green, that could indicate a little bit of a continuation to the upside. Those next targets will be pretty much the value area high at $88,500, right? We've already come into our local Fibonacci retracement, right? If we can get above here, maybe we can start marching up towards that value area high. But this is really the key level that we have to get above to push into our next big key level. So I am viewing this as a scalp until proven otherwise. I am not necessarily, just because we're bouncing off a golden pocket here, does not guarantee, and it is confluent, right? This is the same level we talked about on Friday, so a lot of you guys could have been ready and waiting, and I'm sure you were ready and waiting for this level to come in. But, you know, at this point, we are still within our volume profile, right? So get accepted below the high, right? You're looking to get your next likely place for price to go to be into the POC, so we could just kind of wiggle around up here before eventually continuing back down through the volume profile. I like these bearish divergences. I like the bearish retest of the value area low. And I also do like, at least for the move to the downside, I do like the fact that our 2-hour money flow is back in the red. 3-hour money flow is attempting to continue out. We're getting a little bit of a local pop up there. But I am long from here and short from here, guys. If this thing rips, I'll get stopped out in profit on the short. Long will continue to play out, but I'm going to be more cautious. I don't know if it's a super high probability that we come and get this high just because this is a higher low on a golden pocket. Is it possible? Yes. But at this point, it's like we got to get all the way back above this value area high, which we all know is more probable to fill in full. And then even if we did get above here, you got to get back above this value area low, back above this anchored VWAP. We'll see. So if we get the put, you really got to break above this value area low at 91.5 in order to look for 96K. If we can't get back above here, I'm expecting this to eventually roll over. So very, very local long position here. I don't have super high hopes. If it plays out, beautiful. But I would say that next big level to look to break above is $88,600. Watch this 3-hour money flow. This continues back out. Probably going to get the drop down. Chat is gone. I deleted chat by accident. Let's see. Shout out to Rudy, level 007. Shout out to Rudy. Welcome in. Is that a different Rudy than the other Rudy, or are you the same Rudy on a different account? Shout out to you, brother. Thank you for being here. So, yeah, guys, I think that's all the time I've got for today's live stream. Such good TA, Frankie. Or thank you, Frankie. I'm not sure if this is different than NAR, but can you take a look at Dogecoin? I'll do you a favor. We'll take a look at Dogecoin on tomorrow's live stream. I've just been kind of taking a little bit of a break from the altcoins, only because until we see a big sign on Bitcoin, right? Like all the altcoins have kind of just been sitting in the same situation here, right? Just playing with support. Playing with support, right? So all these altcoins are at key support, but they are kind of last resort levels just like on Bitcoin. So hopefully we can get a little retracement up. Again, I am holding the long up $1,000, and I am holding the short up $3,000. So I'll probably lock in a little bit of profit on this, maybe lock some profit in on both of them, making them guaranteed winning trades with stop losses at break even. And yeah, I think that's all the time we got. Yo, Rudy LTX said, I love you, bro. Rudy 007 doesn't. Shout out to Rudy. Let's go. But guys, with all that being said, that's all the time we got for today's live stream. Thank you all for hanging out here in these dumpy times. Try to keep your head up. And, hey, hopefully we get a fake out and massive new all-time highs. But I just got to come up here and read the charts very transparently. And the second something changes, your boy Frankie Candles will let you know. That's all the time I got for today's live stream. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Coach, what's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
Come on, Mrs. Candles. You look tired. It's okay. She'll be back soon, guys. She'll be back soon. See you guys later. Hasta pasta. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like, yeah, you about to see me on demand like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag.
yeah. And we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal